Hello Year 10, so I'm just going to quickly show you how to do a couple of the questions on cumulative frequency from the task that was set this week. So I'm just going into the homework, so cumulative frequency, preview, and hopefully this will let me type in so I can show you how to do the questions. So question 1. There we go. So we've got a cumulative frequency graph of waist measurements of 40 men. Okay, so with cumulative frequency, we always have this ascending curve. Okay, always drawn freehand, and it's basically a running total of all the frequencies. Okay, of all the people and their waist measurements. So the top, at the very top of the line here, should be equal to the total frequency, which is 40. So we want to know how many have more than 85 centimetres. So especially when you're doing this in written form, the easiest way to do this is with a ruler, which I'm hoping it's going to let me use. Okay, for some reason that facility doesn't seem to want to work while I'm on the camera. I don't know whether that might be to do with the fact that I'm filming this, I'm not sure. But we can do it without, it's just more accurate with a ruler. So just how many men have a waist measurement of more than 85 centimetres? So waist measurements on the x-axis, I'm going to go to 85, and I would, with my ruler, I would go up to the curve, okay, if you can follow with the mouse, and then I go across to the x-axis, and I would read off the value which is there. So every little square is 1, so that's going to be 11. Okay, but what that actually tells me is that 11 people have a waist less than 85, because this is up to 85 at this point. So 11 have less than 85. So to work out how many have more than 85, I need to take 11 away from 40, which would give me 29. Okay. The median, okay, there's quite a few questions in this homework where you have to estimate the median, okay. So to find the median is halfway through the frequency. The total frequency is 40, so the median, half of 40 is 20. So I would draw a line with the ruler, if I was able to, across to the curve from 20, and then I go down to the x-axis and I read off the value, which looks to be about 91. So the median is 91 centimetres. Okay. So the interquartile range, okay, I'll see if it gives me somewhere to write. I'm just going to write here in this message box. So the interquartile range is the difference between the lower quartile and the upper quartile. So the lower quartile, which I'm going to call LQ, is a quarter of the way through the data. So it's 1/4 through the data. Okay, oops. So if I look, there's 40 people altogether. So a quarter of 40 is going to be 10. Okay, so a quarter of 40 equals 10. Okay, so I'm going to go to 10 and I would go across to the curve, down to the x-axis, and it looks to me about 84. So I can say that the lower quartile equals 84. Okay, and you should remember doing this on graphs in school. So the upper quartile is 3/4 of the way through the data. So 3/4 of 40, so 40 divided by 4 and times by 3 to find 3/4 is 30. Okay, so I would do a line across from 30 to the curve, down to the x-axis, which is 97. So I would say 3/4 of the way through the data, the upper quartile equals, forgotten what I said now, 97. Okay, so we've got the lower quartile and the upper quartile, a quarter of the way through the data and 3/4 of the way through the data. So to find the interquartile range is the difference between the upper and lower quartile. So to find the difference, I do 97 subtract 84, which gives me an interquartile range of 13. Okay, and I'm just going to pop 13 centimetres in there, and then moment of truth. Yep, we've got that right. Not sure why it's saying whoops, you have some incorrect answers, because we don't. We've got 4 out of 4 marks, so it's obviously having a little moment. Okay, so question 2. This is fairly straightforward. This is just cumulative frequencies. So this is adding up the frequencies. So to get this 0, well, 0 obviously is below 49 to 53, so there was nothing. And then the next one, 49 to 53, means that it's going to be less than 53.5. Okay, if it was more than 53.5, it would go into this one because it would round up. So less than 53.5 is this 7. And then cumulative frequency up to 58.5, which is 7 plus 37, which goes in here. And then we do our answer plus 33, goes in here. And that answer plus 3 will go in here. So it's like a running total. Okay. Question 3. You're asked to draw a cumulative frequency table here. Okay. So you've got your graph paper. Cumulative frequency is always on the y-axis. Distance here is on the x-axis. And you're always going to plot the upper bound. So this is the upper bound here. Okay. So it's basically there are 8 parcel deliveries up to 5 kilometers, 30 up to 10 kilometers, and so on, 70 up to 15 kilometers. So your first pair of coordinates would be 5, 8. So you go to 5 and up to 8. I think in this particular graph, every square is 2. And as I say, I'm not sure if it's going to let me write on there. So I think if I can bring my pencil, it's not letting me use the tools. I think it might be because I'm videoing this. But the coordinates that you would plot would be 5, 8, then 10, 30, 15, 70, 20, 80. Okay? And then to find the median, remember it's halfway through the cumulative frequency, so you would go across from 40 and down to the distance to find the median. Into quartile, lower quartile is a quarter of the way through, so a quarter of 80 would be across from 20. 3/4 of 80 would be at 60, and then you find the difference between those two distances to get the interquartile range. So I'll try and demonstrate that again on one where I'm given a graph. So that's very similar to question 1, this one, estimating the number of students with a height above 150 centimetres. So you would go up from 150 to the curve, across to the y-axis, read off the value. That tells you how many students are less than 150. So you need to take that away from 50 to work out how many are greater than 150. So 35 isn't the answer. That's how many are below 150. So to get how many are above it, you do 50, take away 15. Okay, question. So let's just look at this one. So the median queuing time. Okay. So this one doesn't tell us the frequency in the question, but we can see that the line goes up to 100. So there must be 100 customers altogether. Okay. So to find the median, we want halfway. So half of 100 is 50. So you would go across from 50 to the curve and then down and read off the value, which looks to be about, we need to be careful here because it looks like every 2 squares is 1. So we have to work out our scale here. It goes from 10 to 15 and there are 10 squares between 10 and 15. So every square must be a half. So 2 squares is 1, 4 squares is 2, 6 squares is 3, and so on. Okay, so just be careful when you're reading your scale. So median is halfway. How many customers queued for more than 20 minutes? Again, you go up from 20, across to the y-axis, and remember that this tells you how many queued for less. So you'd have to take it away from 100 to work out how many queued for more than 20 minutes. Okay? Okay, so again, just a reminder of the interquartile range. You draw a line a quarter of the way through the frequency to get the lower quartile, 3/4 of the way through the frequency to get the upper quartile, and then take that one away from the other. Okay. Estimated fraction of 80 bananas that the shop buys. So shop only buys bananas with lengths between 13 and 20. So you would find 13 and work out how many bananas that is. You'd find 20, work out how many bananas that is, and the difference between those two gives you the number of bananas out of 80, this is a fraction, which is between 13 and 20. So if I just demonstrate that one quickly. So up from 13 centimetres takes us to somewhere in between there. It looks to me as though it's halfway between that the 20 square and the one below, which seems to be, I still left this up from the first question, a bit of a lag I think. So 13 centimetres, we said we went up from 13 and across, it looks like 19 to me, 19 bananas. And then at 20 centimetres, we go up from 20 and across. Every little square is 2, so that's going to be 64 bananas. Okay, so the number of bananas between 64 and 19 equals 54, 44, 45 bananas. So it asks for this as a fraction, so it would be 45 out of 80. Okay, you could simplify that if you wanted, see if it's happy with 45 out of 80. Yep, it's maybe it wants it to be simplified. Should we try simplifying it? Divide both by 5. Oh, it's because I haven't filled in the other question. That's what it is. I haven't done this top question, so it's not giving me the marks for this one. So I hope that this was helpful. If there's still any questions that you're stuck on, please do send me an email and tell me which question number, and then I can go into the question and make some notes for you to help you. Okay, thank you for watching.